Hi, I'm Ztarli and welcome to my video series on how I use Artflow to draw. This is part 1, which we're focusing on sketch and the tools I use to sketch in Artflow. So just give you a quick rundown of where things are positioned. We have our little spot or little dot at the top right. That makes the tools disappear and reappear. So if you want to draw without having anything in the way, you just click the dots and it'll disappear. Then on the right hand side, we've got the 2 scroll bars. The top one is your brush size and the bottom one is your opacity. On the top bar, we have a selection of different tools. Starting from the very right, we have the select tool, the paint bucket tool, the smudge tool, the eraser tool, and the paintbrush. The next 2 tools change depending on what brush or tool you have selected. In this case, we have a drawing tool that has things like the smoothing option and shapes in it, as well as the symmetry tool next to that. After the gap in the middle, we have paste, copy, and cut. The 3 dots is for files, so saving and new files. Then we've got cropping and changing of file size. We've got gallery, and the last one is the layers box. Now the first thing I do before I start any sketch is to make sure I have all my references in place. Sometimes I will use my phone next to me to load references, and other times I'll actually load them straight onto the page. For this drawing, I am loading a couple of images straight onto the page. So I do that by opening the layers box, clicking onto the layer that I want to load the image on, and then I click image, and then I go through my files and find the file I'd like to import. Once you open the file, it allows you to make changes before pasting it onto the layer. You can move it around, resize it, rotate it, skew it, flip it vertically or horizontally, or rotate it 90 degrees left or right. Whoops, that's the wrong file. Once I have all of my reference pictures on the page, I'm now ready to start sketching the image I have in mind. I didn't really think about the pose or anything for this very well, and this is all kind of all made up on the spot, so it's not actually going to be the best of sketches, but since this video is just to teach you how to use it, it's not such a big deal. If you have any questions about how I use anything, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have in regards to what I've done in this video. So before starting the sketch, I do add a new layer to do my sketching on, so that it is separate from the reference pictures and is easily changeable. I then select the brush I'd like to use. In this case, I've gone to the second brush menu and just selected a pencil brush, in this case the H brush. I then select what color I'd like to use from the circle second from the top right. I generally don't use black, I prefer to use a color, so I'll just choose something like a blue or a purple. The reason for this will become apparent later on when I show you how to adjust layers. I then select how big I'd like the brush to be and the opacity of it. Opacity determines how see-through the line is that you draw, so if you want to be able to see things underneath it, then turn the opacity down a bit. The higher the opacity, the more solid the line will appear. For sketching, I prefer to have the opacity turned down just a tiny bit so that lines can overlap and you can see areas where I've sketched over more than once to sort of show more form or darken places up that I want to focus on. Then you just sketch out your idea. Some people will draw more than one sketch and choose their favorite of the few they've drawn. I'm lazy, so I generally do one. My sketches are sloppy and not refined. Sometimes I will do a second layer on top of the first one and turn the opacity down for the first layer and re-sketch on top of the new layer so that the picture does end up more refined. But if I am doing line art, I generally only do the one sketch layer and then the layer on top of it will actually be the line layer. So in this case, this is it. This is my amazing finished sketched, and in the next video we'll move on to the line art. So thanks all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!